Hi, welcome to the Stockinit Zombies. I'm Amy, also known as Janitma.
And I'm Megan, also known as Just Run It. And this is episode 147. I had to remove things that are sitting on top of the piece of paper. How you been?
Busy?
Busy?
Yeah, I'm knitting a fingering weight blanket apparently.
It appears so.
Yeah, just busy. I mean, ailments have befallen our house and you don't want to hear about them, so I will not mention them.
Okay. My house is, knock on wood, find something to knock on, currently plague-free.
Good.
Which in the grand scheme of things, we were talking about this, it's not Ebola, and it wasn't some of the respiratory viruses that people are dealing with. And
yes.
So saying it's a plague jokingly kind of belittles those things that are actually quite serious. But yes, everybody got healthy. We had a weekend where everybody is well. I'm going up and running the Twin Cities Marathon this weekend. Yes, this weekend. And then next weekend we're having house guests, or a house guest, which I'm not extremely excited about, right before we leave. So, to go to Rhinebeck on Wednesday, the following Wednesday.
Oh my goodness.
I know, right?
Yeah, will this be done? I don't know.
It'll be...
There's a lot of plane rides, maybe, and some days before the actual Rhinebeck where I'm on vacation, maybe. But still a lot to get accomplished between now and then. I am really at the tail end of the body, and then I can do sleep. Where everything will probably feel like it goes zoom zoom, except that it's reverse stockinit in the round, which I'd be likely to flip inside out if it was the whole sleeve, but then they put the motif in about halfway down, so it's like, and then you're flipping it back, and then you probably get a stitch. I don't know.
I did that with my Leavenwick and I didn't have any issues. Not that I noticed anyway.
Okay.
Flipping it inside out and then back outside in. You just end up doing one of those wrap and turn type things. But you're right. I mean, if you looked really close, I'm sure you could see. Anyway, that's getting into the knitting. We have a lot of drawings this week. It's the beginning of the month, and so we have our self-striping. That we had 2 sponsors this month. In fact, I just realized that I didn't grab the next on the list to tell you who's up for October. But Revelations of a Delusional Knitter has this candy corn colorway, Halloween based, and then we have the Dancing Dog Dye Works in the Driftwood and Sea Glass stripe. That is a 75 merino, 25 nylon, 463 yards.
Got really quiet there for a second.
I was trying to read. I read. Anyway, so we had 1,827 entries. And random number generator in our random number generator seems to like the multiple of the same digits, and also liked the 400 series. So 2 numbers were 402 and 444. 402 is Haley 20. Is it Haley 216 or 26? It's Haley 26. And you have the candy corn colorway, so contact me and I can get that sent out to you. And then 444 was Ting Ting Knits, and she got the Dancing Dog Dye Work. So if you contact me, I can get those sent off to you. And again, thank you to everyone that's been knitting along. 1,800 entries is just mind-boggling. Mind blown. Also, we had our Dis or Dat, which I can't remember the last time that I won. We haven't done one in a while, but on the grass, won. And I have a lot of needle adjacent projects. I almost gained up my Fable Fibers biography in the, I decided not to do the Sweethearts and Brains from last year's birthday kit. I decided to do the Pearl Jam, the one that I got before we got that. It's kind of greeny and purple. But I was just telling Amy this week, I got in a mood and went, I have 17 things in my queue, and I can't even, like, if I want to knit a pullover, I have to search my queue for what pullovers I have in my queue. And so I went through and I favorited everything that was in my queue, and stuff that was in my library. I used to use my queue like it was to help me figure out what, like, a subset of my library. And if it's in my library, I can Ravel research and do the little chick for in your library. So I took 17 pages down to 1. And those are the things I'm actually going to knit.
Yeah, hers is shorter than mine. I have 4 or 5 pages now.
But On the Grass is on there because I've got the yarn picked out and it's there. But anyway, so we had 304 entries, I believe, was the number on that. And 3 winners for that because we got into the 300s. And the winners were 94, 168, and 233. So 94 is Jessica in MD, so I'm guessing it's Maryland. And she voted for On the Grass. So Jessica, contact me and I'll get you On the Grass. And Woolylicious Cafe was number 168. 168 is Woolylicious Cafe, and she voted Bray. Yay! And then 233 was B17. And I don't know, maybe she's a bingo player.
She said Bray all the way.
Bray all the way. But yeah, they both start with B. B17. Bray all the way. Yeah, is there a B17 in bingo? I'm trying to think of that now. I don't think the numbers go that high.
No, I think it's like B15 or 16, and then it goes over to I.
Anyway, the things my mind does. Congratulations to you all. Thanks for voting along with us. That was super duper fun. I always enjoy seeing why people want, pick things, or if people's aesthetic matches mine. I think we both liked both of them. Like, you were like, oh, I like On the Grass too. I don't know if it was in your queue, but yeah, feels good to win all the same. And those are our giveaways. We need to get the Indie String giveaway out in our threads. She gave us a very generous coupon code that we mentioned when we talked about it, and then one of my needle adjacent projects and one of your needle adjacent projects is now that we split our 2. And so the prompt for that giveaway, which I will get out there and we'll be drawing for after we return from Rhinebeck, is what are 2 of your color choices that you would pick from her shop to do color work with? Okay. So it could be the ones that like we already have, or you could not like green and purple together and want to do something, or more of a chartreuse. It's not necessarily there yet. And more of a yellowy green. And so we'll get that thread out there. I know some people have been waiting with bated breath, but we've had a lot of giveaways lately. People are being super generous.
Yes, and we like to keep our stickied threads not crazy. Like, there's just a certain amount where you lose all your other chatter if you have too many green stickied. So we just, if there's already a side contest along with our knit along and the knit along chatter and we just like to make sure that it's kind of settled before
that. And I think it's easier if we're more single threaded with our prize giveaways, just so that people can keep track, because I know it's already hard to be like, that thread's been up for like 10 days. Did I already enter? And then you have to go and check and see if you've already entered. And if we've got too many prize threads going, then it's just mass chaos. Cats and dogs living together. Funny that our minds went to that. It might be because I'm wearing a cat shirt.
Ghostbusters is awesome, and it's hard not to quote it.
Yep.
Mass hysteria.
There is no Dana, only Zool. And they should be playing that more often now that it's October.
Yeah.
Do you have any fun October things that that you're going to do or have done?
Well, Rhinebeck, trick-or-treating, and yeah, that's it for October. I mean, big event-wise.
Yep.
We always hit the apple orchard.
This
But we've
time-
already done that twice. So
This time of year, for some reason, I always want to bake and I want to sew, which are odd. I mean, like, I always want to knit. Although I feel like I'm knitting a lot more garments recently just because it's been cool enough to, like, imagine myself wearing them. But, and not even, like, I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm not a really big chef, cook, culinary person. But, like, something as simple as tonight, we take a white cake mix and a can of pumpkin, and you mix them together, and it's really thick. You don't add anything else to it, and then you just follow the cake box instructions, and then you've got pumpkin bars.
pumpkin bars. Nice.
Yeah. I mean, they're probably really, not probably, they are really high in sugar because you just put a cake mix in with the can of pumpkin, but super easy peasy, and my house smells pumpkin-y fresh. Another tangent here. I was watching the news, and I don't often watch the news, but they were saying that the Starbucks, but they came out with the pumpkin spice latte, that they can actually track that things that have pumpkin in the name now sell better. Like that, blah blah blah, sales of pumpkin has skyrocketed since the pumpkin spice latte, and it's so funny and ironic to me because pumpkin spice lattes don't have pumpkin in them.
No.
It's
spices.
it's just the spices that you would normally pair with pumpkin. I think I would like it a lot better. Not that I'm bad mouthing the PSLs out there that everybody loves, but I think I would like it better if it did have a little bit of pumpkin flavor in it. It would feel more earthy. But that's just so funny to me.
This morning I had a dirty chai. Take a chai tea latte and have them put espresso in it.
Oh, I've never had that. I found that I used to really like the salted caramel mocha that they have this time of year as well. And it's just too cloying for me now.
Oh, and I will say my dirty chai was found at Starbucks.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
I was in line at the other coffee place downtown and heard somebody order it, and I went, next time I'm going to get one of those. I'd already had my mind set on the flavored coffee of the day, but next time.
I don't drink just coffee ever. Like I don't have many vices. I don't drink pop. Now that I've given it up this year, even diet pop. But I do prefer to drink my coffee with lots of fat and sugar. Fatty, sugary coffee. That was all I had in the way of announcements. We had some, you were going to mention briefly a Kickstarter.
Yeah, Twisted Fiber Studio, she mentioned her Kickstarter in our enabling threads. And she had also written to me to offer a giveaway. I haven't confirmed with her yet on what we are giving away and how that will be devised. But as soon as I hear back from her, I'll pop up a thread and people can enter to win. It will be something from her shop, one thing. But right now on the Kickstarter, you can it's kind of like a pre-order, really. Is that you choose what you want, and she's got a bunch of matching fibers and yarns and bags. And
that's kind of the shtick, right?
Yeah.
It's the colorways are unique and go with the bags. So,
yep. So,
very cool.
Yeah, and the prompt on that will be which color from the Kickstarter is your favorite. And so you're welcome to go into our enabling threads and see what's there, and then I will relink it once I get the go ahead on the prize thread.
So you were enabled by that, and I was enabled by Miracle Jen has some kits with some designers that we know that have been to ZK that I was very enabled by. So it's a steampunk themed shawl or socks. And the yarn is called, what is it? But it's very patina-y. And it's just so gorgeous. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's super, super beautiful.
Yeah, I haven't done anything with the Kickstarter yet.
Oh.
It's beautiful. But, yeah.
Okie doke.
So, yeah, and Penelope was my favorite. So, hope you can see that.
Yeah. Do you have any of those?
Not really.
Okay.
But I will get out a hoe.
Oh. Is that the one that you went walking with?
Yep.
I think you should change your Ravelry name to just Walk Knit. But you run too, I guess. Where were you walking? I was trying to figure out, like, Karen commented, that was a really long walk. And I was like, where did she go?
Oh,
was it on the Douglas Trail or was it out near your house?
It's near my house.
Okay. I was like, where is she?
But it's like, I don't know, I don't think it was that long of a walk though. It was probably,
maybe she thought you were somewhere else too.
Yeah, 2.5 miles, maybe.
That would be close to the Douglas Trail, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean I was already there for my daughter's soccer practice. But I, just walk out that way and back, and I'm like, well, how far would that be? Maybe not quite 2 miles.
Did you finish it on the walk?
I don't recall. I might have finished it at home or on the soccer field. But, so yeah, got strips done. I put the fish lips kiss seal in it, and I just did a basic sock with some ribbing. Started toe up, and this is fish, so it's a fish knits all around.
Fish kiss?
Yeah.
Fish knits, fish kiss.
It's very fishy sock. That's what I should change it to. A very fishy sock. So yeah, one done. I was very excited to get that cast off, and I did grab a little toe pick, tiny toe pick,
so you don't get second sock syndrome.
I was further along, and then I readjusted the purple so that it would be more on.
OCD adjusted.
I did a OCD adjusted. Wow, why was that so hard to say?
OCCD adjusted.
Yeah. So then that will get some work maybe, but I have been very dedicated to.
Would you say monogamous?
No, because again on the walk I did this, and then on the cat got some more love.
Oh, jinx.
But I'm ready to fly to the end with the jinx right now. So if I picked it up again, I would have to finish one. So
it would be like Mortal Kombat. Finish it. Isn't that what the guy? And maybe you didn't play Mortal Kombat.
I didn't
growing up. When it was finish him or finish her or yeah. Anyway,
so yes, somebody would be yelling at me, finish it. And that person lives in my head.
Okay. And it would be the person that's driving you to finish it.
Well, yeah, and right now it's yelling at me for this thing.
Yep.
But you might have finished objects.
I do have a finished object. I regretfully have knit this now, and Cakewalk is no longer in business, but this is Cakewalk Yarns. What is it called now? What somebody's put? It's collectible, yarny collectible now, in the Hero Squad colorway, and I absolutely loved it in the skein, and it really needed a pattern that would play nice with the crazy, basically. And so my friend Susan is designing a hat that has a slip stitch motif and some stars here and kind of a flatter top. I think I have a taller head than most. I mean, I've got this big, huge forehead.
I'm looking for the stars. Oh, okay, I see it now.
Yeah, it's harder to see
With the crazy yarn.
with the crazy yarn. Got a big forehead, so I added a little bit at the top, so it's a little less flat, because I got to the top and I was like, I don't know that this is going to cover my ears.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe she's going to call it Out of Friendships, because it's been inspired by several of her friendships. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was a test knit, quick test knit, and I thought it did really well with this yarn. So, and it's super squishy. You said you knit slippers out of it, right?
I did. I still have some left, so.
Yeah, the greens in there is what drew me to it. And I haven't measured, but I think I could probably knit another one. Should the mood strike me. But I can show you the top as well. But that was a zoom, get her done, give feedback type situation. And away I went. Do you have any other works in progress? That I've got a lot of works in progress and needle adjacent that I can talk about. I'm a little cast on crazy.
Yeah, I have, let's see, lots of body parts for the cat. And it's now to the point where I need to get the little legs started and then do the body and then the head, and then I'll be ready to sew it all together. And that, as I recall, goes really fast once you've gotten those legs joined in the round. Goes super fast, so I need to work on that. And then there's a hat in here, and I've only got the ribbing, the band done, so I can show it. This is just pattern that I'm working on, and yay, there's ribbing at the bottom. But this is Dramatic Knits Metamorphosis.
Wow.
And I really like it.
Yeah. I'm not seeing the purples as much. I'm seeing a lot more of the, oh, it's hidden in there. It's hiding. And that's on his,
you know, I don't remember if I had,
or is it the,
I think it's the box office.
okay.
I think it's
the
actual worsted, yeah. And that is
very
going.
cool.
And we'll see if the pattern handles the yarn. I am not quite sure of that yet, but we'll see. If it doesn't, it'll just have to be, because I'm not going to redo it. And what was the other thing? I have some adjacent projects, but I don't know if those count right now. Are we talking about those?
Yeah, sure.
So I have the indie string, and I'm going to color work these together. And this is a nitty pattern where you use the Feel Good Yarn Silver Spun, which I have a test skein of.
For the fingertips.
Yep, just for the fingers and the thumb tip, so that you can use your devices.
It's conductive.
Yes.
So it's thermal conductive, so that your screens will notice that it's your finger.
Yep. And this yarn is so squishy and soft, and but this is so it covers, it like flips a little bit, so it'll flip to be an open-ended mitten, and then you can flip them down and use your digits. And yeah, it was free on Knitty, and I can't recall the name of the pattern, unfortunately, but it used worsted and then this silver spun yarn, which I believe is categorized as a sport weight on the fingers.
Yeah, I tried on some of those mitts at Stitches Midwest so that weren't that pattern, because I don't think Mary had it hadn't been released yet, but were just those mitts in general, and that very therapeutic feel on your hands.
Oh, really?
Super soft, and with the silver in there.
Okay.
It's just kind of like a calming hand moment. So hopefully it'll
just
be
my fingers.
yeah, well, but hopefully it'll be nice to knit with as well.
Oh yes.
It's not a typical cotton in that it's been there's some stretch to it, which is why, as Clara said, that cotton hurts our hands, because when we tension it, it doesn't have much give to it. So it has a little more give, and it's also been why can't I think of the word? Anyway, we'll review it when you use it.
Yes.
And then we're also going to have a silver spun KAL in November as kind of gift knitting KAL. So heads up on that if you want to try, if you've been on the fence about trying some of the silver spun. It's good stuff.
So then
that pattern maximizes it, right? Because you don't have to have a lot and you can use it on the fingertips.
Yes, I could probably, make several pair with the two at least.
And last, sorry I interrupted you.
Well, I do want to make some gloves out of the Kivyat yarn that my stepdad purchased. So I'm pretty excited to try that out. But I need them to measure the hand and send that to me so I can get all the measurements before I start.
So this is for him?
Yeah. Yep. And then, I can talk about this real quick. This is the ink, and it is getting huge.
Yes, big.
And I am down to the last repeat that gives me the ribbing along the sides. So very soon after that, I was reading, and there's 2 stitches that it says repeat until length desired, and I'm like, so I could eliminate those 2 rows altogether. If I'm happy with the length, those are gone, and then there's 10 additional rows after that. So I'm in the home stretch. I should be around 30 by the end of the day.
Yeah. She keeps on telling me number of rows, and I just keep on thinking, like, a watched pot never boils. Like, don't count, Amy, don't count. I mean, I know that it's probably spurring you on as well, because you're trying to get that number smaller and smaller and smaller.
I mean, it is, because there's so many, I don't know. If I were to just go with daily progress, it doesn't feel like a whole lot, like, okay, I got 12 rows done. Whatever, that ends up being like this much, and even your little, like, did I do anything marker does not satisfy, but at least having that number of repeats go down, or the number of rows go down is a little bit better, but yeah, still not the greatest practice. I wish it would just go faster.
Well, it's got the front band already in it, right? So
yes.
It's not like you're going to have to pick up or do anything. It's just the sleeves.
Yep, this is true. This is true. I need to keep telling myself that.
Just the sleeves.
And I keep thinking, like, oh, they're going to fly. Once I get to the sleeves, they're just going to fly right off.
And that's out of Marigold Jen, BFL, and her fingering way. It's a lighter fingering,
yes,
right?
Yes, it is.
And
Hip plump's okay, as I recall.
In Amy's plumpy or punky plum?
Punky
plum. I know you just said plums. So. All right, let the craziness begin. I cast on and worked up to. This shouldn't be connected. Thank goodness. On my Carrera to the hood. And then I had 3 balls left, and I was like, I gotta find out whether or not I'm gonna have enough yarn. So I got the front band done. I picked that up and got that done. And I've got I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have enough. I've got this for the pockets, and then I think if math serves me right, 1/3 of the total yardage is sleeves, and so that would be one of these cakes for each sleeve. And I've got 2 left, so I think I'm going to be okay. But I think it was just the general speed at which this was knitting up. I was freaking out. I was like, I'm going through like a ball a day. I'm not going to have enough of this. And so here, messy cakes for some reason. I think it's a really nice base. I really like this base. It's by Cascade. It's Venezia worsted. It's a merino silk, but the silk isn't like, I don't know, other silks have made it a little more rustic, and this still has a pretty good finish on it. I could just wear it as like a muscle tank at this point. if I did run out of yarn. But this part and the bottom part is you do 2 yarn overs per stitch to make it this kind of airy, and it's very time consuming. And when you turn around and try to work it the other way, if you've ever done anything where there's multiple yarn overs, it gets kind of bunched up, like the second yarn over goes over the first, and then it's hard to. So I actually did my feeder needle was a 5, and then my actual knitting needle was the 8 that the pattern calls for. And then I was using my Addy Clicks, because then I could really easily flip it around when I got to the other end. So that did add a little bit of time to flip the 2 needle sizes, so that the feeder needle was the skinny one, and the one I was knitting with was in my right hand. But overall, I think it saved me a lot of time, because then the stitches were a little easier to get off the needle. Other things that I did with this, the pattern called for you to cast on for the pocket, and I just picked up from behind. So they had you, and that's another technique, they had you put the stitches on spare yarn and then cast on the same number of stitches, and then the pocket's going to be applied to the front, and then you were going to end up sewing the bottom down. And I was like, I'll just pick up stitches behind the current ones. It's going to be in the back of the pocket anyway. And then recently on Very Shannon, I get a lot of knitting tips from veryshannon.com. Or So Very Shannon? I think it's veryshannon.com. I don't think it's So Very. I think that's her Instagram name. I'll link it. Anyway, Jane Richmond wrote up a thing about provisionally binding off. And I was like, that is deceptively simple, but genius. So if I had put this on spare needles, on a spare cord, or on spare yarn, the stitches sometimes get really stretched out, because they're on something where they can slide and tension can. But if you just take that same spare yarn and bind off the stitches, then it keeps them nice and tight, and it gives you a feel of what the fabric is actually going to be like after you finish the provisional piece. And now when I want to do the pocket, I'll just unravel that bind off and pick up the working stitches. So pro tip, I did it for the underarm ones too. Because they get, I don't know, they just get really stretched out or floppity, and I like it. I wove in all of my ends except for the ones around the armholes, because I have a thing where one time I wove in my ends around the armholes, and I ended up picking up stitches through a woven in end, and it was bad news. You end up with a hole in your in your armpit when it and of course it wasn't when it was like when it was being washed or something. But so I got 2 pockets, 2 sleeves, and I'll have a Carrera. I think you have to crochet some some closures. Reverse stockinette up here. The armholes seem very, very large, so I think I'll have a very drapey sleeve up into a point. Might need that whole cake, but hey there, Little Red Riding Hood. You sure are looking. It's been a while since I've knit a hood, and it was my Austin hoodie, and it's never been this big, and I don't think there was any shaping in it. So this has some short row shaping, and it's reverse stockinette with a bind off. I'm hoping my woven in end looks a little better. It's looking a little wonky right now. That stuff will just block right out, right? But they say she did it so that the seam was on the top. That was the look that she wanted, so I went with it. Okay. But I really like, it's a table format pattern. So hopefully you can't see any of the numbers, but everything is in a table format, and I like that. It makes it easier for me to find what I'm looking for, and away you go. So there's that, and then we will be reviewing Tin Can Knit's new book, Road Trip, at the end here, and I have been enabled to cast on for that. So one of my works in progress is the Prairie Fire, which is a top-down raglan pullover that starts, obviously top-down, but there's a lace motif that starts here and expands down and then ends up meeting in the back that I really like. And I didn't have any DK that I didn't want another green one because I just did that very lacy green one. And I didn't want blue for some reason because that just didn't say Prairie Fire to me. So I grabbed some sport weight that I got from Madeline Tosh Magnolia Club. This is in the grenadine colorway, so I think I'm going to call it the Cherry Prairie Fire. And it looked a lot more pink and gray in the skein. I'm really liking some of the blues and other like mauve-y colors that I'm getting in there. I'm still just knitting the size that I was going to knit. In fact, I think my gauge is actually, the pattern calls for 4 stitches per inch, and I'm getting like...
Well, this doesn't really feel like sport to me.
Oh, really? It's a thicker sport, you think?
I think so.
It's an MCN sport that I got.
It's just a fluffier one.
Yeah, our lights are flashing. I hope we're not killing the lights. Are you seeing that?
Yeah, but I thought it was just one of them.
Oh,
not all of them.
No, I thought it was all of our lights. Anyway, hopefully it's not like, but you guys will just edit it and you wouldn't even know. Okay. So that's going. I cast that on today because I was like, I don't want to pick up and do sleeves. See, this is why I just finish things, because now that other one the sleeves aren't going to be as fun as doing the lace work. As I mentioned in a previous episode, a little bit of enabling here. Sorry for the crinkles. Crinkles the fun part. From Infinite Twist, I got my Hooker's Green in a sweater quantity, and I caked it all up, and I want to make the Old Growth. So I didn't immediately cast it on. This was the first one in the book that was my heart's desire, because it was another bottom up, and I was working on a bottom up, and I was like, what kind of crazy am I if I'm going to knit 2 bottom up sweaters at the same time, and those aren't necessarily my bag, baby. But I'm going to modify this one so that it's in the round up until the armpits, and then I'll do the asymmetrical Henley. So a little bit of modification there, but there is that Budamus green. I'm thinking that the gauge, this is actually kind of thinner than the sport, so I might end up holding it double. Might. I don't know. I'll have to measure gauge. You're seeing it now, aren't you?
Well, I see it, but I feel like it's only coming from over there.
Okay. Hopefully we're not burning my house down. So that's a needle adjacent project. And then next week we will be reviewing Graphic Knits by Alexis Winslow, as we've mentioned, and I have that all skeined up and ready to go. I'm doing the Germander shrug, which is a lacy back shrug that is worked from the back out, and I skeined up some 100% alpaca. I need something green. Very green.
I decided that nothing in my stash worked, so I am ordering some yarn for the Sweetness pullover, and I think that I am going to love this sweater. If anything, I'm going to love knitting with the colors that are coming in the mail.
This must have been very close to the soap.
Oh,
in my thing, it's like, whoa, that's overwhelmingly 100% royal alpaca wool, and I think I read about it. It's Aslan Trend in the basil colorway. I think they like spun it or deburred it or something. Dry clean or steam. Anyway, I liked the color and it's super soft. So that is needle adjacent, and then I think I might knit from Tin Can Knits with the 2 colors that Amy showed off from Indie Spring and the Hawk one, with some of the Infinite Twist, possibly the white held double, the Cloy Quint hat, just to get a feel for the color work in that.
Cool.
Yeah. I keep on saying I want to do color work, and then I just don't make it a priority on my needles. And I need to. So it's sitting there, ready to go. Raring. Ready and raring. Yeah, the old growth might not get on the needles until I get some of my, having 2 garments on the needles at the same time is kind of crazy pants for me. So I'm like, must finish that before I cast anything else on. And then this didn't change much. I got one of the pattern rows in the Shirtigal, where there's some going like this and going like this in the Hiawassee Creek. You can see some of the colors working up. You're not going to be able to see the stitch pattern. It's actually kind of hard for me to see even in person. If another stitch pattern doesn't make it more visible, or another pattern repeat doesn't make it more visible, I don't know if I might just rip it back to the ribbing and make it something else more textured, because the darker colors, it's not worth all of the cable crossings and whatnot.
Yeah.
But that hasn't gotten much work. I think I got it to the ribbing and then went, I want to be knitting sweaters. And so she did. But my Infinite Twist, remember, I didn't go grab my, she sent a really nice needle case along, and then the little snips that, that she'll be giving away if you use Zombie as a, mention us in your order. And she's doing a golden ticket week. So if you order things now, you might get a golden ticket in your order for sweater quantity of Helix and a Susan B. Anderson shawl kit and an Emsky Knits kit and all kinds of goodness. So yeah, she's got incentives to go out there and buy. I really like that Hooker's Green. I'm not gonna lie. Love it, love it, love it. But that's kind of my enabling and naps and whips all rolled into one.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. We got a book to talk about.
We do. She's like, don't pick up your knitting and knit. Get the book out. So as we mentioned, Tin Can Knits had a pre-order set up, and then this past week they digitally released the digitally released the digital. Is that what you do? Ebook, and everything in it is just it calls to me. Like, that's what I'm going to use the actual keyboard to type in my password. Caused the craziness of the pattern of all the patterns caused the craziness of having multiple garments on. I think I can get this to go.
It doesn't make it bigger though.
No, it makes
do it that way.
Yep. It's Road Trip by Alexa Ludeman and why can't I think of the Emily Wessel. And as we mentioned, has a good mix of colorwork cables, shawls, mitts, hats, pullovers, cardigans, lace weight, what else? Socks. Socks in there, a lacy shawl. So as you saw previously, I have the toque, the Cloyquint. I don't know how to say it. I'm horrible at pronouncing. This is actually a free pattern out there that you can go out on Ravelry and get without purchasing the book. But it's a similar motif as the cardigan. I think the cardigan has maybe on the larger sizes a little bigger motif that goes above it. But some great instructions on how to do color work and a fairly simple color work motif in a large number of sizes on that. I can show you the cardigan. And Amy showed off her her choices as far as the sweater previously.
Yep.
In a needle adjacent.
That's the one that I would get or knit first.
It is named for a wild place called Cloyquint Sound. Cloyquint Sound? I'm saying it horribly wrong.
I do I do like the one that you're knitting right now, and thought I might be able to use up our birthday kit yarn with that.
The Fable fibers?
Yeah, if it wouldn't get lost. We'll see.
Amulite is a cabled cowl that is named for a gemstone in the Rocky Mountains. Very, very pretty. It uses, I think most of this is either worsted or DK. I don't think there's a lot of fingering weight patterns in here. Caribou is kind of what I consider the Tin Can Knits signature sideways upper motif, and then you pick up and work down. So there's some very antler-esque undulating cables. With Tin Can Knits, you always get a large variety of sizes as well. So even if I'm like, well, I don't know that I would knit that for me, if I had some, a smaller quantity of yarn in my stash, that would be perfect. I could see knitting any of these, and they've got it modeled on adorable children. Apple Pie is a very lattice-esque hat with lots and lots of cables. I really like the yarns that they've chosen. There's a lot of Sweet Georgia. I can't remember what the DK is on my pattern. But those were all keeps on switching back. Windows 8, I'm learning you. That chapter, the general theme was the open road. So then the next, I think the next one was romantic getaways. So it's all very road trip themed, and it tells a story, and I think that's fun as well. Rivulet is a it's got rivulet
texture.
Yeah, it's a textured triangle with fringe-tastic. I wonder how that's applied. I didn't go in and read, but that one's for sport and plucky knitter. Prairie Fire is the one that I was just talking about. The little kid in it gets me as well. I'm like, some of those sweater quantities for me, I think might end up having to be one of these for the Ulster. And I was telling Amy the thing that just slays me is where the pattern meets up in the back.
Yeah. So Megan doesn't mind an arrow on her butt.
I don't. I think it's actually, I don't think in that, with that setup, with it creeping from the top into the back, I think you're actually going to be more focused on the line that it's creating and not where it's pointing, if that makes any sense. Yeah. And it looks really cute on the child, where it doesn't necessarily quite meet up as well, because they don't have as long of a torso. Makes sense. Less rows for it to try to meet up. So that's already on my needles. Whoa, I just did something.
Sure did. Something.
Socks. So crunchy cable and lace socks is the tagline for these. I really like that colorway. There's a lot of yellows used throughout this, and I really like it. 3 adult sizes on the lacy and cabley socks. Viewfinder, no, I just skipped one. Grayling is some mitts that again are heavily textured. What does grayling mean? Early morning sun rises over the mountains as you unzip the tent. I don't know what grayling means. Do you know what grayling means? Okay. Delicate cabled mittens. They are Madeline Tosh Sport. And that's the button jar blue is what the, Amy may have ordered some of that Tosh Sport in the button jar blue that it's knit out of. The Viewfinder is a lace cowl that is heavily laced. Very, 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 very lacy bits there. I really hope you can see it. I know that we get a little bit of a glare off of the the studio lights. I think it looks fairly straightforward as well, and I think because it's not an overly intricate lace, you could get away with some pretty crazy colorways, almost like a honey cowl but more opened. And that's a lace, actually. 420 yards lace weight yarn is what or 520 yards lace weight yarn is what it calls for. Next section is the family memories. So this is more of the group and kid memories, and this is the old growth that I just talked about. The yellow on the little guy's cardigan just slays me. I want that. It's Plucky Knitter in the Princess Phone colorway. Primo worsted. So it's got kind of a tree motif and an asymmetrical button band. Very fun. And that will be as needle adjacent for me. Stove top. Very cabled, heavily cabled classic hat out of worsted with some texture and obviously a pom-pom there on the top. For the gal, paddle is some simple stripy mitts, which look very fun. It's Madelinetosh DK is what it's written up for. And feel free to jump in if there's any of them. And Bonfire is they've I think all of their books have had a blanket in them. And this one seems to be it's very cable-licious. Calls for 900 yards of super bulky weight, and then they always have a nice little schematic. So it looks like there's some garter, and then there's an asymmetrical cable motif.
Yeah,
on
and it's
the blanket.
It said 40 by 49, so
yeah,
not bad.
no, for 900 yards of bulky Cascade Lana Grande.
Yeah, I've made several things out of that.
Blanket.
My slanket.
Your slanket's made out of it. And yep, in like I said, in typical Tin Can Knits fashion, very well written. They've got a lot of free tutorials out there for techniques, videos on their website. So if they reference something, like for example, this prairie fire, if you didn't know how to read a cable chart, that they've got tutorials about that. And always very well written, variety of sizes, and just everything in here is calling to me. God, I almost want to knit a blanket. It's it's so styled and so me. If the best analogy I can say is Tin Can Knits is to just run it as Mama is to Forrest Gump. They just have a way of putting things that make me understand. Like, I just want to knit everything that they put out there because it's just my aesthetic. And it's a box of chocolates. And you never know what you're gonna get. And we thank them for sending us the patterns to review. I may have asked them to send me the patterns to review because I was like, I love these! They're fantastic. I'm going to love them whether or not you send them to me, but will you? So thank you to them, and go check those out. And I don't know if the deal is still available to do the pre-order for a cheaper rate. I think now that it's October 1st, the rates have gone up, but I think it's still a great book. I mean, considering that how many patterns and the variety that you get in there. I mean, I've seen higher price tags for less patterns, and definitely a lesser range of project types and sizes. So
right, I would concur.
Yep. So yes, thank you to them, and go check them out. And yeah, I posted on Instagram and asked folks what they would be interested in knitting out of the book, because I was super excited. It was kind of like Rex Manning Day. It was like, it's Tin Can it's release of road trip day. And so feel free to go jump out on the forums and let us know what you would like to knit out of the book, if any of your favorites are what our favorites were.
Cool.
I don't have anything else.
No, me either.
Yeah.
I would, yeah. How many more rows do I have?
Stop counting. The counting is taking you longer than the actual knitting. The birthday kits, will be sending out a notification that when those will be shipping out. In fact, you should get an automatic notification when we print the shipping strips on the shipping labels on PayPal. But we're hopeful that will be next week, and then we'll stage in our patterns, and we're super excited about them. I think right now it's just a foregone conclusion, and I can't wait until people are squeeing with us on the contents.
Cool.
So if you signed you up for a birthday kit in October, it is now October, and you will be getting one.
Yeah. All this stuff has arrived and is awaiting approval. There's a few last minute detail items that are coming into place. So we are hoping that they will get shipped soonly.
And it's October, and
September just,
yeah. It was a blaze of sickness in my family. It was like, where did that go? Oh, that's right. And yeah, if you happen to have a random, like, I need to cheer somebody on today thought, even if you are nowhere near Minneapolis, like, mentally cheer me on Sunday, because it's gonna be so hard. Like, I don't know if the first time or even the subsequent times that I've run a marathon that I just was like foolhardy or why, but like this time it's just like, wow, I don't know that I'm gonna be able to do this. That 20 was really hard, and then I'm gonna have to run for at least another, like close to an hour on top of that.
Wow.
And they may have to wheel me in a wheelchair on Monday to work.
Like Barney Stinson, get all your stuff stolen on the...
Yep, I won't even have a medal.
Yeah.
They'll just take it away from me on the subway. Yep, you don't really train for a marathon. You just
step one.
Start running. Yeah. So yeah, I'll be able to report on that next week, and then it'll be a blaze of Rhinebeck planning.
Yes, exactly. Yep. We need to get on that.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye, Ufta.